Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Puspita Ayu Marzuki from Medical Student, University of Islam Sultan Agung Semarang. Today, I want to talk about consort, checklist of information to include when reporting a randomized trial. From the article by the title Efficacy and Safety of Hydroxychloroquine versus Placebo for Pre-Exposure SARS-CoV-2 Prophylaxis Among Healthcare Workers. So I want to explain to you from number 1, title and abstract. Point 1A, identification as a randomized trial in the title. This is 1A title, a randomized clinical trial. So next, 1B, structure summary of trial design, methods, results, and conclusion. This is 1B abstract, include from importance, objective, design, setting, and participant, intervention, main outcomes, and measures, result, conclusion, and relevance. Next, introduction, background and objective. Point 2A, scientific background and explanation of rationale. Here, 2A, research background. The pandemic triggered by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 SARS-CoV-2 has affected more than 6.8 million people in the US, with more than 200,000 deaths to date until with few long-term adverse effects. Next to point 2B, specific objective of our hypothesis. This is 2B objective. A recent randomized trial for post-exposure COVID-19 prophylaxis with a 5-day course of hydroxychloroquine did not demonstrate clinical benefit until 8 weeks of treatment. Next to methods, trial design, point 3A, description of trial design. This is 3A, trial design. The single health system, double-blind placebo-controlled randomized trial was conducted as the prophylaxis sub-study of the prevention and treatment of COVID-19 with hydroxychloroquine. Point 3B, important change to methods after trial commencement. Here, point 3B, important change. If the z-score were lower, more negative than minus 0.27, futility would be determined, as it would be very unlikely to achieve significance under the original assumptions. At each interim analysis, the z-score and all other safety and efficacy data were reported by the study team to the DSMB, which would recommend continuing or halting the study. Statistical analyses were conducted using Stata version 16.1. Next, to participant. For A, eligibility criteria for participant. Here for A, eligibility criteria for participant from healthcare workers at either study hospital were eligible for inclusion if they 1 work 20 hours or more per week in hospital-based use unit, 2 had no known history of SARS-CoV-2 infection, and 3 didn't have symptoms suggestive of COVID-19 in the 2 weeks before enrollment, including cough, fever, or shortness of breath. Physician, nurse, certified nursing assistant, emergency technician, and respiratory therapists were eligible. Inclusion criteria include history: 1. A positive SARS-CoV-2 test result, 2. Allergy or sensitivity to hydroxychloroquine, 3. Glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency, 4. Retinal disease such as macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy, and 5. Substantial cardiac disease. Another exclusion criteria are listed in supplement. Next to 4B, settings and location where the data were collected. Here 4B, setting and location. Investigation at 2 hospitals within the Penn Medicine system, the Hospital of the University of Pennsylvania, 839 Bed Teaching Hospital, and Penn Presbyterian Medical Center, 375 Bed Teaching Hospital, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Okay, next to intervention. Intervention point 5. The intervention for each group with sufficient details to allow replication, including how and when they were actually administered. Okay, this is point 5, intervention, from here until here. So next to outcomes 6A, completely divided specified primary and secondary outcomes measures, including how and when they were assessed. Here 6A, primary and secondary outcomes. The primary outcomes was the rate of conversion to SARS-CoV-2 positive status via NP swab in enrolled participants during the 8 weeks of study participant. Participants were available for the primary outcomes if they had a negative result for the SARS-CoV-2 PCR test at baseline, took at least one dose of study medicine and had the opportunity to complete 8 weeks of the study. Secondary outcomes included the adverse event rate of serologic antibody positivity, or either nucleocapsid or spike protein antigens (ACG), change after 4 weeks of treatment, and clinical outcomes for any participant who become SARS-CoV-2 positive and or develop COVID-19 symptoms within the 8-week study period. Next to 6b, any change to trial outcomes after the trial commenced with reason. This is the reason in the article. Next, sample size 7a, how sample size was determined. This is 7a, how sample size was determined. Participants spent from April 9, 2020 to July 14, 2020, during which both hospitals had uniform policies for HCW use of PPI. So next, 7b, when applicable, explanation of any interim analysis and stopping quit lines. This is the reason in the article. Then the randomization sequence generation. 8a, methods used to generate the random allocation sequence. A methods of generate the random allocation. Participants were randomized by the Pain Investigational Drug Service in a 1:1 ratio to receive either hydroxychloroquine 600 milligrams daily or placebo. So next to 8b, type of randomization, details of any restriction. This is for 8b, type of randomization. In block of 8 using established randomization software, SelectEnvelope.com, Clerkenwell Workshop, the IDS staff kept the randomization assignment concrete from study staff and investigators until interim analysis. Participants remained masked until study completion. So next to allocation concealment mechanism. Number 9, mechanism used to implement the random allocation sequence. Describing any steps taken to conceal the sequence until intervention were assigned. I'm not find the checklist from the article. Next, implementation 10.10, who generate the random allocation sequence, who enrolled participants, and who assigned participants to intervention. Okay, this is the number 10, implementation. This is the implementation. So next, blinding. 11A, if then who was blinded after assignment to interventions assessing outcomes and how. This is 11A, who was blinded after assignment to intervention. So next to 11B, if relevant, description of the similarity of intervention. I'm not find checklist from the article. Next, statistical methods. 11 12 sorry 12A, statistical methods used to compare groups for primary and secondary outcomes. Here 12A, statistical methods. With the assumption of a 10% infection rate in the HCW population, we considered rejecting the null hypothesis if the infection rate was 1% with hydroxychloroquine treatment until the Z-score needed to declare futility was a more modest value of opposite popularity. Next to 12B, methods for additional analysis such as subgroup analysis and adjusted analysis. There isn't in the article. Results: participant flow diagram is strongly recommended. 13A, for each group, the numbers of participants who were randomly assigned received intended treatment and were analyzed for the primary outcomes. Here, 13A, number of participants of the 139 patients who provided consent. 7 did not meet eligibility criteria. Therefore, 132 participants were randomized. Next to 13B, for each group, losses and exclusions after randomizing together with reasons. This is 13B, losses and exclusion. 5 participants assigned to receive placebo, including 2 participants with positive test result for SARS-CoV-2 by RT-PCR at baseline, and 2 participants assigned to receive hydroxychloroquine were not available for the primary outcomes. Until here. So next, requirement 14A, that's defining the periods of recruitment and follow-up. This is the dates defining this is. So next to 14b, why the trial ended or was stopped. I'm not fine. Next to baseline data. 15, a table showing baseline demographic and clinical characteristic for each group. This is number 15, baseline data. Baseline characteristic of randomized participant. So next to 16, for each group number of participant denominator included in each analysis and whether the analysis was by original assigned groups. Year 16 number analysis from the thus 64 participants in the hydroxychloroquine treatment arms and 61 participants in the placebo arms were available for the primary outcome. The median age of the study population was 33 years until all participants who discontinued treatment were followed for the intended 8-week study period and either agreed to complete the study procedures or provide information about COVID-19 symptoms and additional testing performed outside of the study. Next to outcomes and estimations, 17a, for each primary and secondary outcomes, results for each group, and the estimated effect size and its precisions. Year 17a, primary outcomes. Next to 17b, for binary outcomes, presentation of both absolute and relative effect size is recommended. Year 17b, binary outcomes, the rate of COVID-19 positivity was similar in the hydroxychloroquine and placebo arms, with infections occurring throughout the 8-week period. None of the 8 participants with COVID-19 required hospitalization. All were either asymptomatic or had mild disease and fully recovered. Next to ancillary analysis, 18, result of any other analysis performed, including subgroup analysis and adjust analysis, distinguishing pre-specific from exploratory. Year 18, ancillary analysis. At least one dose of study medicine was taken by 65 participants in each arm. Therefore, these participants were available for adverse event. Until here. Next to harms. 19, all participant harms are unitant effect in each group. This is the harms 19. Adverse event in available participant. So next, discussion limitation 20. Trial limitation addressing source of potential bias, impression, and if relevant multiplicity of analysis. This is the limitation 20. Our study was likely established with insufficient power. Given the small sample size, we cannot exclude the possibility of an undetected modest potential prophylactic effect of hydroxychloroquine. We didn't attempt to quantify the frequency of participant exposure or the specific timing of exposures until enjoying a prophylaxis trial using hydroxychloroquine will be important to address this limitation. Next to generalizability 2021, generalizability, external validity, applicability of the trial finding. Among hospital-based HCWs as at high risk of exposure to SARS-CoV-2, hydroxychloroquine 600 milligrams daily for 8 weeks didn't reduce the incidence of SARS-CoV-2 infection compared with placebo. Until here, as seen in our study population. Next to interpretation 22. Interpretation consistent with result, balancing benefits and harms, and considering other relevant evidence. Year 22 interpretation. Conclusion: this randomized clinical trial didn't detect a reduction in SARS-CoV-2 transmission with prophylactic administration of hydroxychloroquine, and all participants who did contract SARS-CoV-2 were either asymptomatic or had mild disease course with full recoveries. As such, we cannot recommend the routine use of hydroxychloroquine among HCWs to prevent COVID-19. Next to other information, registration 23, registration number and name of trial registry. This is 23 registration. Trial registration, clinical trials, Gov in Identifier, NCT 04329923. Next, protocol 24, where the full trial protocol can be accessed if available. This is the protocol 24. The study protocol and statistical analysis plan are included as supplement 1 and supplement 2 respectively, and protocol and manuscript were prepared following the consolidated standards of reporting trial guidelines for randomized clinical trials. So the last funding, 25 sources of funding and other support such as supply of drugs, role of funders. This is number 25 funding. Funding or support. This study received philanthropic donation from Leonard and Madeline Abramson and Mark and Cecilia Wonderhead. Role of the funder or sponsor. The funding individual had no role in the design and conduct of the study, collection, management, analysis, and interpretation of the data, preparation, review, or approval of the manuscript, and the decision to submit the manuscript for publication. Okay, until here my explain. Thanks for your attention. Sorry for all my mistake. Thanks. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Goodbye.